Hello, welcome to another episode of the Chicken Noodle Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Campbell, and my grandma hates Shabuzi. What does your grandma think of Shabuzi? He's apparently not really country, right? Welcome. Thank you for joining me again. I'd like to, first off, by saying that I have to address something. I have to address a terrorist attack that has happened recently in the wonderful dump that is New Orleans. It's a wonderful dump. And most places are wonderful dumps. Wonderful dump like when you take a Mondo Duke usually at a place of business, and you think it's going to clog the toilet, but you realize you're at a place of business, so they pay for premium pipes, and you flush it and it goes down without a hitch, and you're like, wow, at my house I would have had to break the auger out. What a wonderful dump that was. We'll talk about wonderful dumps in a minute, but first we must address the terrorist attack that has happened in New Orleans. It really pains me to say this, and I don't like to break sad news, but we must do it in the power of the chicken. There's a terrorist attack happened in New Orleans. The New Orleans women's college basketball team is playing. No, there's a terrorist attack in New Orleans. The WNBA is strongly considering opening a team in the area. No, but there was a terrorist attack that happened in New Orleans, and the WNBA is taking the first step in fighting back. They are opening a team in New Orleans to repel Middle Eastern men from the area. The WNBA is taking first steps in fighting back against terror. They are opening a team in New Orleans to repel any kind of man from the area. The WNBA is taking the first step in fighting back. They're opening the team in New Orleans to repel anyone that's ever existed from getting within 100 yards of that area. The WNBA star Angel Reese is receiving backlash for not having enough clothes on in her pictures. All right. Now, if we know anything about myself in this podcast, we know that we're all about getting that money, right? Get that money, baby. And whatever capitalism is one of the only things that works. So whatever you're going to do, don't scalp me or I'll scalp your head, right? That part of capitalism does aggravate me, but get that money however you can, right? So she posted a video in response, and I will pull that picture up, in response with an extremely skimpy outfit. She is the anti-Caitlin Clark, right? Like, if our sweet, sweet Caitlin would never do such a thing like that and subject her body to all you pigs out there so you can have another image tossed in your spank bank, right? Our sweet angel Caitlin Clark knows that she can hoop and that she has talent, and people watch her and people respect her because of her talent. All right, now Angel Reese she got drafted in the same class as Caitlin Clark. So this is around the time when the WNBA started to get some hype around it, because you had Caitlin Clark, this, crazy white woman who's just unbelievable at the game of basketball. If you talk about basketball, you have to say the game of basketball, right? LeBron James says it, all the GOATs, they say, I'm just, happen to be good at the game of basketball. So anyways, Angel Reese was like, oh, I mean, you could look up the beef. There's beef that's really, it's not dated, but I mean, it's kind of dated. You can look up the beef. Caitlin Clark having an unbelievable season, and then Angel Reese saying things like, oh, well, people are going to remember me too. One person is not the only reason this league is getting popularity. And it's like, sweetheart, yes, it is. Hey, sorry, you got a little pretty face on you, right? But you suck. Hey, I don't care if you average 10 points and 10 rebounds a game, right? Our sweet angel Caitlin Clark drops 30 in your face. Huh? How about that? I don't care if you average 10 and 10 a game, but you shoot 23% from the field. That's a garbage performance. Our sweet angel Caitlin Clark, she'll shoot 9 from 10 from 3. Okay? And you could say the league is, not what it used to be, and I would agree with you as far as the actual NBA. But women's stuff, you got to have stuff that is exciting like that going on, because if you just have Angel Reese, who's just a very mechanical, not like anything special, there's been a million Angel Reeses, then, people are going to watch. But Caitlin Clark, and also, these women hate her because she's just so good. And I think, and they of course have to toss race into it. So it just adds this crazy element that is good television to watch. So Angel Reese got an injury, right? Injured her leg, done for the season. So she's been quiet. All right. Caitlin Clark has just quietly been doing her thing. Okay. Angel Reese is sick of not being in the spotlight, which I understand that feeling. That's why I do this show, is because I need to be in the spotlight for a little bit. So she posts this picture of, people would tell you, oh, she's wearing too much revealing clothing. So then she just turns it up a notch and says, oh, you think that was revealing? Bad. And she posts this picture, and she's getting roasted for it. But I can't really blame Angel Reese for it, because it's really a tale as old as time. If someone is more talented than you and you want the spotlight, take your tits out and shake them around. It's a tale as old as time. There's also stuff that's going on that does need to be discussed, that we have sat down for this lovely Saturday morning. And I know Where Are They Now segment was, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I have another gentleman that I did know growing up that I think we should all learn about. And his name is Nick Smoot. Whoops. And now Nick Smoot is an interesting cat, because I used to hang out with him. He was like this guy. He was like a hippie, but he was like a little taller than everyone. And he didn't really, he just did hippie stuff. Some people, they say the evil hippies, that's kind of what he was. But there was a point in time when he was not evil. And I was telling my mother about this, and she said I should do this about someone that's, a happy story, and I kind of agree with that, but some of this stuff is just too crazy not to tell. A Jefferson County jury found Nicholas Smoot guilty of murder for beating his father to death on December 19th, 2019. Smoot, 29, used a golf club to beat his father, Eric Smoot, a retired Hillsborough Fire Protection District captain who was 53 and in extremely frail health at the time, according to the testimony. He tried to intervene when his son, the dad tried to intervene when his son was assaulting his girlfriend, Hannah Pfeiffer, I believe was her name. After the attack, he died at the hospital. After deliberating for about 2.5 hours, the jury of 8 women and 4 men convicted of second-degree murder, 10 to 30 years or life in prison, blah, 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 assault. So, let's see. Okay, I just want to thank the service. Pfeiffer, 28, who now lives in Arnold, said prior to the assault, she and Smoot had lived with his father for about 5 months so they could help him since he was in poor health. She said Eric Smoot was walking unsteadily, sometimes using a cane, sometimes using the golf clubs he left around the house to help him get around. Pfeiffer said she and Nicholas Smoot had another couple over to the house previous night, and during the gathering they smoked marijuana and drank alcohol. Now, that's probably a true statement, and I don't really, I can't really say anything on that. In particular, drank a lot of alcohol while playing a video game. Now, that's the kind of stuff that Nick Smoot, did. Now, it does not surprise me that they smoked a whole bunch of marijuana and drank a lot of alcohol. I've done, not the latter with him, but I've done the previous with him before, back in the day. But he was just, you just can tell that he was just kind of like, his personality was just a bit too, like, what are you running from? They each had 10 beers, she said. I mean, just the descriptions. Pfeiffer said that at some point after the visitors left, Nicholas Smoot had began acting aggressively toward her. After leaving the bedroom, she shared with him, Pfeiffer realized that she had left her phone behind, and when she returned to retrieve it, he flew at her and grabbed her. She said she tried to leave, but he pulled her back into the room and began physically abuse her, pinning her down and biting her nose, causing her to bleed. I begged him to stop, she said. I felt my arms were literally going to tear off. Her screams alerted the dad, who entered the bedroom and confronted him. That is when Nicholas Smoot began attacking his father. She said Smoot struck his father with a golf club while she was fleeing to a bathroom for safety. Eventually, she ran barefooted outside on that snowy, frigid early morning. I mean, who's this? Emily Dickinson? Partney played a part of the recording. I guess that's prosecutor, which she said, my boyfriend's going crazy. And Brown also, the lawyer brought up, defense attorney. Now, this is what's crazy, is that no matter what case is going on, there's always a defense attorney. There's some guy, it's like, which side do you want to be on? Do you want to be the guy that's trying to lock up the bad guy, someone that may not have done it, or do you want to be the guy defending the person who probably beat his dad to death with a golf club? So the defense attorney, Tracy Brown, seized on Pfeiffer's initial failure to identify Nicholas Smoot and repeatedly pointed out inconsistencies between Pfeiffer's testimony to authorities soon after the assault during the trial. Brown also brought up Pfeiffer's mental health issues, which Pfeiffer acknowledged. I suffer from my mental diagnosis all the time, she said. Brown also questioned that what Pfeiffer actually saw, since she had spent time in the bathroom and had gone outside the house, and Pfeiffer said she did not see all of Nicholas Smoot's actions that morning. So, I mean, I just don't understand how this can be much of a case, because, like, okay, you have 3 people in the house. One guy, the girl, she flees to the bathroom after he is acting aggressively, and then he starts to beat his dad to death with a golf club, and then, now we're in court, and it's like, oh, but Your Honor, she didn't know, she pretty much, she has a mental diagnosis. And the judge is like, excuse me? Your Honor, she's a crazy bitch. Ah, yes, okay, let me write. Crazy bitch, okay, noted, counsel, call your next witness. I mean, yeah, like, who doesn't suffer from a mental diagnosis? Isn't that what we've all come to accept, is that we all suffer from a mental diagnosis? Blunt force trauma after being struck. Brown, health issues included diabetes. Okay. Said her training officer when a patrol. Okay, that's pretty much that story. I didn't know this guy. I've hung out with this guy many a times, and it's just crazy to see these people that go down this path, much like a path I went on. Now, I'd never beat my dad with a golf club unless he tried me. So I just don't know what has to be going through your head. Like, you have to be really troubled. Either A, you're not just on marijuana and alcohol, or B, you're on way too much alcohol, or you're just very messed up in the head. I always, I don't know how that defense attorney could say, Your Honor, this lady right here, she's a crazy bitch. Okay, what about your client, counsel? Yes, the man that's being accused of beating his father to death with a golf club. No, he has all his faculties. Okay. Next question. Call your next witness, counsel. Fires going on in LA. I don't really have much on that. Trying to write some things about that. But I did come across a video of this person, I guess one of these, what do you call them, a fire chief, or Los Angeles Fire Department Assistant Chief Christine Larson says, Christine Larson, or did you say Christine Arson? Says that when people's houses are burning down, they want a firefighter to show up who looks like them.
Better issue. You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Oh my gosh. Now, let's dissect this for a second. So, I was asking someone today, hey, what do you think about these fires? What do you think about them? And this person told me, well, I don't know, but a lot of people are thinking that it's God's wrath. Okay, fair enough. Perhaps. I don't know how I feel about that. I didn't know how I felt about that until just very recently. Very recently, 5 seconds ago. I said, God's wrath, but what is God's wrath? Why are you destroying these people's homes? Is it just collateral damage, or what kind of sense? That just doesn't make sense to me. Oh, what, God's pissed off at people, so he's gonna, burn their house down and everything, my whole life is in my house. If our house burnt down, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I'm just a new person now. Nice to meet you. Everything I've owned and I've loved and I've worked hard for is gone. Nice to meet you. I'm an invisible man now. I'm slowly regenerating my health. But now, what I realize is that God may be smiting. He may be smiting all of us. Starting with the absolute serpents out in L.A., the deviants out in L.A. who think that whenever my house is burning down, I want a 29-year-old guy with tattoos that kind of has this look about him that, I'm like, I don't know what I think about this guy. He's got some kind of weird attractiveness that pulls me towards him, and I can't stop listening to him talk, but I don't really think I like him. No. Do you think, when a fire happens, here's what I want. I want a guy or a woman, but you got to be jacked. I want you to be jacked, and I want you to come in, and I want you to have your shirt off, and I want a guy to have his shirt off, run in, and just fireman carry me out of my house and really just emasculate me. And I'd be okay with that because, listen, when it comes to saving my life, I'll be emasculated. I'll bend the knee, right? I'll take my ribbings, because I got some things to be alive for, which I may not have said that years ago in my life. So, but just to think that the LA, what was her job title? The fire department assistant chief thinks that whenever I'm dying in a fire, someone's dying in a fire, that a minority is dying in a fire, that they want, what's that lady? Christine Larson. I don't know. She kind of looks Mexican, but whatever. Let's say she, so you're a 55-year-old, 45-year-old black man who's gay, and you have frosted tips. Do you want that person coming to rescue you from a fire? Is an absolute mind virus. It is truly a mind virus. And then the other thing that gets me,
Your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you.
no, I don't care. Hey, I want someone that can drive, that can fly and land a plane to perfection. I want someone that can whip their hose out and spray me all in the face, all in my burning face. I want someone to whip their hose out and spray me in the face that is trained to do that. Johnny Sins.
Whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better.
Oh yes, because of my skin color, because of my sexual identity, because you share those same beliefs as me, or we have that in common. You're gonna know whenever I'm, stuck in a tree. You're gonna understand that situation better, and you're gonna help me get me down like a cat.
Somebody that responds to your
Stop.
looks like you. It gives that person
Where's the other part?
ease, knowing that somebody might understand
Come on.
the situation better. If she's strong enough to do this, or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that so? Your husband... Oh, you can't carry my husband out of a fire. You're nothing but a wee bitch. To which my response is, if I have to carry your husband out of a fire, then he did something to get himself in there in the first place. Which, I don't know, that's just, that's just a crazy statement. 39, let's see, do I have a name for this story? Well, that's unfortunate. No name for that story. So what have we learned here is that God is trying to maybe tell us, hey, whenever someone's whenever someone's in a fire, someone should rescue them, and it doesn't matter what they look like or what they believe, because the job at hand is to save a fellow human, save your fellow countrymen, because it's the right thing to do. And then, or maybe it's like, how they say when 9/11 happened and everyone, it was the most patriotic time after that. Everyone was so well connected. That's maybe what this is, because, LA out there is just, it's bogus. It's Freak City. Hey, Freak City. And so in order to get everyone's heads on straight, hey, we need to burn down, over half your city. That way you'll stop worrying about, are you a Z or a Zer? And you can start saying, oh, wait a minute. We are all just creatures that want to reproduce with each other, and we have families to take care of. How can we just need to survive tomorrow, right? So instead of worrying about if you're a Z or a Zer or you're a Xerxes, how about you worry about what can I do to survive today and make it to tomorrow? As long as I don't get in a fire, as long as a fire doesn't happen in my house while I'm sleeping, because then I'll wake up to smoke, and then I'll see Christine Larson bust into my house and bend me over my futon and give me the business and then carry me out of my house. So that is what we can take away from that story. We're doing good. We're having a good time so far, I'd say. Let's talk about the Chiefs, right? It's football time. Playoffs are starting, and the Chiefs season has just started because it is January. And the Chiefs really don't play meaningful games until January. I mean, call me crazy, but back to last year they did win the year before that they did win the Super. Oh, and then they won in 2018, 2019. Oh, golly. So, trying to pull up a little snafu for you. So today we have the Texans and the Chargers playing in Houston at 3:30. I'm going to take the Chargers in that game at -3. Let's see. Then at night we got the Steelers and the Ravens. Give me the Ravens. I don't think the Steelers can move the ball well enough. Then we've got the Sunday, we've got Bills and Broncos. I think the Broncos could upset the Bills, but destiny is destiny, and it's only right that the Bills get eliminated by the Chiefs in the playoffs. So Bills will probably win that. Then you've got the Eagles and the Packers. I'll take the Eagles. You've got Sunday night Buccaneers and Commanders. Give me Jaden Daniels, the rookie, and over the Baker and the Bucs. Even though Baker's a psychopath and he does the smelling salts, and I enjoy that about him. And then Monday you got Vikings and Rams, which the game was supposed to be in LA, but now it's moved to Arizona. So give me, I don't know, give me the Vikings maybe. No, Sean, I don't know, give me the Vikings. I think Justin Jefferson's going to have I don't know. You have so much talent. You have a Justin Jefferson on your team. I'm just going to go, I don't know, I'm going to go with them. They've just been playing too hot. But Sean McVay, coach of the Rams, is boy wonder. He's a good coach. But to all the people the Chiefs haters and, people that maybe don't like them, which anyone that starts winning a lot, of course, you're naturally just going to hate them. It just happens. But while all of you, sorry, I'm just really just fumbling myself right here. Let me turn some things up. So while all of you other football, maybe you're a fan of the Packers, the Eagles, the Bills, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Texans, the Chargers, the Lions, the Vikings, the Rams, whoever you are, just know that while you guys are playing, I'll be watching from the throne. 3, 2. We'll be watching from the throne. So if you win your playoff game, just remember who's watching your showing. I want you to put on a good show for the King. Put on a good show for us. Give us something of entertainment. Because this is the most exciting time of the NFL season.
Please welcome to the
Okay, so make sure you give us a good show because we will be watching. Do not disappoint the King, or the King shall smite you, just like the King has smited LA. Just like the King has smited LA.
Why?
Just like the King will smite any of you WNBA whores out there who keep revealing yourselves because you don't have that much talent, like Caitlin Clark, so you take your tits out and shake them all around. Kingdom to the
Thanks.
So, just remember that while you are going about your business this football weekend, rooting for your team, just remember who's watching.
Dream dog gets the levels, got some of the beast.
And that's our football talk for the day. If you'd like to send an email to me, chickennoodlepodcast@gmail.com, I will make sure to read all of the emails. I don't believe we have any. I don't believe we've gotten any in a very long time. I did have someone send me a message. I don't know if it's for the podcast, but I will read it live because, I think it's a video. Oh, yeah, it's a Marshawn Lynch video. Good for him. It snowed around here. and the snow was fine. It's fine. It was, it's the kind of snow that you want to have on Christmas. That's the kind of snow that it is. And while that's great, I am sick of people trying to tell me how bad something's going to be when it's not that bad. Okay, if there's ice, that's a different story. Or as my, grandpa used to say, watch out for that black ice and anything else that resembles it. I didn't say that. But if someone says that, then you probably need to be careful when you're driving. So, I do enjoy snow. Some people enjoy snow probably more than me. I don't know what people do in it, but I mean, it's nice. I just don't like when I get sent home. I just like to be, working as much as I can. But that's, I guess, a personal problem, personal preference, not a problem. But what I do enjoy, though, is when you are surrounded by two people that are know-it-alls, and they have a know-it-all off. I was surrounded by these guys that were, maybe I shouldn't call them know-it-alls. Maybe that's a bit much. It's not necessarily what I mean, but it's like the kind of people that, that when they say something, it's like it's gone through, they process it in their brain, and it is fact. It's fact. So maybe they don't know it all, but it's just about, this certain thing. So, when it was snowing, someone was like, oh, yeah, that's about, geez, we've got about, looking at Sam, yeah, I'd say about there, we've got about one knuckle notch deep. And the guy looked at him and said, excuse me? He said, yeah, about one knuckle notch deep. He said, that's like 2 knuckle notches deep. And he said, no way that's not 2 knuckle notches deep. I know 1 knuckle notch deep when I see one. Because when I bang up, I know what it feels like, because this is the same length as my that. The other guy, he didn't say that, but that's what I thought he said in my head. And that's what I think he was subconsciously saying. So the other guy was like, oh, this is 2 knuckle notches deep, right? Because when I, dip my bit, it's the same as my 2 knuckle notches deep. So they went out there and stuck their knuckles in the snow together, and they became Eskimo brothers. And poor old Mrs. Snow was never the same. I don't know what I'm talking about. What I do know is that I hope I didn't talk about Panera. I don't think I did. I don't remember if I talked about Panera. I went to Panera, and of course, gosh dang it, did I talk about Panera? Whatever, well, hopefully not. The pick 2 at Panera, total deception. Anyone can pick 2. The thought is you get some kind of a deal. I picked two sandwiches for $7 a piece, thinking I'm going to get a discount. But really, it's like, oh, hey, here you go, you glutton pig. You just bought 2 sandwiches. It's $14. And I'm like, but the pick 2 price is $7. It's like, yeah, the pick 2 price, if you get this one and this one, you will pick 2 and you pay for 2 of them. And I'm like, but that's deception. You should be smited for that, just like the king is smiting all the people in LA. So so I'm like, okay, and then the 2-half sandwiches, I mean, yes, they are big, but it's like, what's the difference in the pick 2 price and the original price? I don't think anything. I just think they just literally put pick 2 above something, and they're just like, through the power of suggestion, they're just getting you to buy 2 things when you would only buy 1. It makes no sense, because you pay for your sides separately, you pay for your drinks separately, or maybe it's wrapped up together. But the point is, when it says pick 2, and it has a number by it, and then you pick 2 sandwiches, you pay for both of them. Hey, guess what? I can pick 2 at literally any place I go to. How about that? So, Panera, I mean, it is okay. It is okay for what it is. Chiefs game, pick 2. My grandma hates Shabuzi. He's not country. I think that, okay, maybe we'll close on this one. Let's talk about football in high school. I think recruiting schools should play in their own division. I don't think a recruiting school should be able to go play a public school. I think that is one of the things that makes America America, is we have these invisible lines drawn everywhere, and that constitutes, different laws that you have to abide by, and different, it just causes different things. Like, you have a whole new set of rules to your lifestyle. Your life may be different because of what side of an invisible line you're drawn on, right? So I say this because the Dexter School District, which had a really good football team, and they made it all the way to the state tournament and played a really good team. And this is not just for I can't remember what class they're in, class 3 or 4. This is all classes. Classes, I believe, goes by the size of your school, which is fair. But then when they had to play this school, Lift for Life, I hate this. I love my computer, but I don't like Microsoft stuff. Well, I mean, all I can do is change it. But I will only search from Google. I'm not going to use your Microsoft Bing. I just hate it. Google is where it's at. And if you don't have if your messages aren't blue when you send them to me, jump off a bridge. No, just kidding. Don't do that. Let's see. Lift for Life Academy is a school where they don't have a football team. It's a school that is in the hood, and God bless. I know that life is probably tough, but it's a second chance school for kids that act up, but they're good at sports. And they call themselves, any place that calls themselves an academy is really, it's really like almost, I would say it's pretty close to segregation. And I don't agree with segregation, right? So don't come barking up me. But I'm just saying, anytime in sports that I've watched or I've had to play against an academy, it's either a school of all black people or all white people, right? All black people that'll just have dunked on my face and humiliated me, or, the kind of date rapey white, preppy kids that, are You know what I'm saying? So the public school was just doing great team. And yeah, I don't live in Hillsboro anymore. So of course I'll always root for them, but I'm just not invested in the town anymore. I don't live there, so of course, the town I live in, I'm going to just get him super invested in that team. And when you know certain things about the players, you're like, oh, hell yeah, this is great. And you see him bust open, bust the coverage or just make a play. You're like, that's great. That's awesome. And all of these kids are connected to each other. And all of these things are possible just because you were born or you started going to school in between invisible lines in whatever town you're living in. Because you were born on this side of the invisible line, you're going to go to this school, and now you've connected with, this person who is going to, help you out in life. You just get moved by all these things. Not really making much sense, I fear, but I just think that whenever they were so excited, they had won districts, I think won the first round in state, and they went and played this Live for Life Academy, and they just got below. It was, as a person I follow, Big Cat, it was an absolute shit pumping, and I hate that for them. I truly do. And I think it's nonsense because I think it should be public schools versus public schools, not public versus private. Because I just think it's just cheating is what it is. And listen, if you want to, gamesmanship is gamesmanship, and I'm all for that. But just recruiting, I just don't agree with it. I'm trying to circle around to a little funny little point, but I just don't think that I have one. Public versus, private. Like your public parts are my face, my hands, right now, my ears, right? Private parts, my genitals, my ass, my stomach, my feet, right? Those are all my private parts. Now, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a good face, public, or good privates, or good genitals, private, public, private? I know what I would rather have. So how are you going to put someone's face, public, against someone's genitals, private? I just don't think that's right, and I think it's messed up what these schools are doing to kids. Putting some kids' genitals up against some kids' face, private, public. And that's bullshit. And we here at the Chicken Noodle Podcast don't stand for any of that. So, if you'd like to support us, you just shoot me an email and I'll organize a rally. I won't go to it, but someone else wants to organize, I'll send a newsletter out or something. I'll do something like that. I've got other things going on, but I will support you from here talking this, and that's what I will do. So, thank you guys so much for listening. Send an email to chickennoodlepodcast@gmail.com. And just remember, if you're, getting burned by the fire, or you're watching football, or you're, I don't know, whatever it is you're doing in a day in your life, and you don't think anyone's watching you, maybe you're committing a sin. Just remember, the king's always watching. King's always watching. Gritty. Who?